You think about this person all the time, and you begin to create things about the person that doesn't even exist. Because a crush and infatuation is a lot of times what we bring to the party and not what they bring to the party.
Why does he turn me on? Is it because he's a douchebag? Then you probably
Can you say douchebag on this show?
You can say anything on this show.
People forget to just shut up and listen and look and observe people. Somehow I just know I'm going to end up on this show naked and unconscious. And
Those who never try, those who keep their feelings inside.
So you've got your eye on someone, you've got a little crush. How do you get them to fall for you? Today we ask the experts. And later in the show, the band The Three Heads will join us. But first up, advice columnist Thor Nye and Kim Dower, author of Life is a Series of Presentations. Great to have you back again today, Thor.
Nice to be here, nice to be here.
Hey,
Kim,
Greg.
a pleasure.
Pleasure.
Causing trouble off camera, but that's okay. Thor is an advice columnist for Girls Magazine. This is a Norwegian magazine.
Yes.
And you get a lot of 13-year-old girls writing you saying, "Dear Thor, there's this guy I like. How do I get him to fall for me?"
Yes, that's true. That's about half the questions I get.
And what do you tell them?
Well, I mean, first of all, you need to pay attention to the guy and to let him know that you might be interested by, I mean, smiling with him, laughing at his jokes, if they're funny. If they're funny.
Okay, so not if they're bad.
Well, I mean, you can still
real?
laugh a little bit, but no, just as long as you pay attention to him and talk to him, maybe if you can, kind of spend
Talking's
time
good.
close to him. Yeah, talking is good. It works.
How far? But I think one thing people probably want to know is, how far should you change yourself to? Should you be your real self, keep it real, or should you be somebody else to get the guy?
You should absolutely be yourself. I mean, if it might work, and a lot of people do this, and it does work, to lie and
cheat,
be
manipulate.
fake, and manipulate people to sleep with you or like you. That works for until they find out it's a lie. So if you really want a relationship that you want to, invest time in and want for a longer period of time, then obviously you need to be yourself and the real one, because if not, that's not who they like.
Well, Kim, your book is Life is a Series of Presentations. And you say this whole dating thing is kind of like a job opportunity anyway?
Yeah,
or
in a
business
way.
situation?
Well, it's hopefully it won't be a job opportunity, but
no financial.
Yeah, no financial. We say in the book that people usually say, admit you have a problem if something's wrong. We like to say, admit you have an opportunity. And truthfully, when you're meeting someone, if you have a crush on someone, you have a real opportunity to make it work. It's a very exciting moment. A crush means you feel something, you like someone, it's exciting. Those are good things. So to me, the idea of manipulating or not being yourself or sort of covering up those real feelings is so anti what a crush means. A crush is like a celebration of life, so go for it, and be who you are.
So, but when you say go for it, how do you go for it?
Well,
or be yourself. I mean, because there's always, I think, when you like someone, there's that electricity or the spark, and yet you want to put your best foot forward.
Yeah, well, I think the book Life is a Series of Presentations is about how to make presentations in business and in life. But you could just rip that cover off and put a pink cover on and say life is a series of presentations for dating, because the same practices hold true. And one of the things that we talk about in the book is when you want to go after something, whether it's a job or a date, you ask yourself why.
Why?
Before planning how.
Yes.
Why do you want this? Because you know what? You may have a crush on the wrong person. So if you really soul search a little and think, why do I want this? You sort of peel away the layers like an onion. You get to the heart of it, of why you want. Well, I resonate with that person. He turns me on because we have the same sense of humor, or we like the same things. You really get to the meat of it.
Well, what if it's just they turn you on? Is that okay?
Why do people turn us on, Thor? You're the expert.
Well, this is a problem a little bit for these girls, because a lot of girls tend to fall for guys that are dangerous and like tough guys and excuse my language, but a-holes to other people, because that somehow signifies status and power. And obviously, if you look at that again and be like, why does he turn me on? Is it because he's a douchebag? Then then you
Can
probably
you say
doesn't want-
douchebag on this show?
You can say anything on this show, you know. It'll be on YouTube, but, you know, say it.
Right.
But do you think that's true? Do women tend to fall for the bad guy? The good guys are boring?
I think that we all fall for the wrong people sometimes until we learn how to fall for the right people. And sometimes we never do. But if you start to look at, I think that one of the main things when you have that crush and you're attracted to someone, if you say why, again, ask why before planning how, you may save yourself. You may say, you know what? I don't really like this guy. I like certain things about him. But a crush is often a very superficial feeling too, isn't
Absolutely.
it? Not every crush needs to or should become a relationship. Leave a crush a crush. Fall for the bad guy, have some fun, and then move on.
Move on.
Okay, Mom, is that what you tell the kids? Have some fun, move on?
Sure, I think that crushes and relationships that aren't,
How much fun? Oh.
that aren't going to last
Right.
are also important relationships, aren't they?
True, I think so too. But if you want a long-term relationship, take your time with the whole crush, getting to know the person, because you know they might be very different than you first thought just because you met them a couple of times.
And by the way, this is not really just for girls, you know, getting the guy. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
in whatever direction, the guy's getting the girl, or, you know, I mean, do you think there's a difference between the way men and women approach it, or should approach it, or
Well,
who makes the first move, maybe? Has that changed?
that has changed.
Well, it has changed. I think it's changed. We're very different generations, but I think that when I was 13 and 14, we waited for, the rules hadn't been written yet, the rules, that book, but I think we sort of lived by them anyway. The boys should make the first call, although none of us really did, to tell you the truth. Right. But things have really changed. Girls, young girls have become much more aggressive, I think, than previous generations. They get on the phone. They can even terrify boys sometimes because they really go after things in a much more aggressive way when it comes to crushes and love.
Well, and I think you hit the nail on the head there, because we were talking earlier and you said, you know, going after it without scaring them. You can scare people away in this. So how do you not scare the person away?
Well, I think when you want to present yourself without lying and manipulating, you want to be like the happy, positive you. That's what makes your beauty shine through, and that's what I feel would make you loose and beautiful, because you smile a lot. It's not like you need to be serious and try to be all like controlled, because that becomes contrived fast.
Do you agree with that?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think, you know, back to the idea of the show, which is crushes. Crushes, that's a very specific desire. You know, that's sort of an immediate thing. I don't think crushes develop over time. I think crushes are more instantaneous, and they're more based on a physical and an immediate meeting someone. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
And for that reason, I think that we have to really be suspect of a crush. Not to say a crush can't turn into a real romance or a love or a relationship. Do you think crushes often start the ball rolling, or?
Yeah, I mean, I personally wouldn't, unless there was a crush first, I wouldn't move on to want to make it something else.
So it has to start with the
Yeah,
crush.
for me at least it does.
And a crush is sort of like an infatuation.
Exactly.
And you don't really even know why. It's just like, oh my God, you think about this person all the time. And you begin to create things about the person that doesn't even exist. Because a crush and infatuation is a lot of times what we bring to the party and not what they bring to the party. Because if you really check out that crush and watch him or her, you'll see, well, you know, they're not so perfect.
Yeah.
And after all, that's real relationships are made with very imperfect people.
Well, thank you, Thor. We will be right back. And we are back with Kim Dower, author of Life as a Series of Presentations. And joining me now is Sanjay Berman, author of Do Everything They Tell You Not to Do If You Want to Succeed. Great to have you here today,
Thank
Sanjay.
you very much.
Well, we were talking beforehand, and you said something about lust. And is that really kind of what a crush can be based on sometimes, is you're lusting after somebody?
I think love is, crush is based on infatuation.
Infatuation.
And what stops it from going to the next level is usually fear of rejection. So you keep it as a crush. You're too afraid to open yourself up and say to this person, you know, I really like you, and I'd like to see us, you know, more into a long-term sort of situation.
Well, you know, Kim, you were saying, you know, keep it real or be real and just go for it and don't pretend. But as he said, though, you're kind of opening yourself up. And what if they're not interested in the real you?
Well, it's good to know that right away and move on, because it's the real you that you've got. And I think, you know, Sanjay is right. You have to open yourself up and go for it, because one thing that no one can resist is authenticity. And they may ultimately say, well, I'm not interested right now, but it's irresistible to be yourself and to say what you want, and especially if you want someone else and you let them know. Right?
Now,
I totally agree with that, and I also think that sometimes there, a little is a lot. A lot of people forget to just shut up and listen and look and observe people. I think not only in relationships, but in any relationship in your life, whether it's personal or professional.
Sure.
If you just watch the person, they'll tell you everything about themselves. And as you were saying about finding out why you like the person, I think people forget that. When they get into the whole infatuation thing, they try to make sure that there's a connection there, and it's not necessarily true. But if you start to observe the person, you'll start to see whether their flaws bother you enough to want to pursue something with them or not.
Kind of going back to the theme of being real, or and even looking what the other person's like. How do you balance, let's say, being authentic or being real, letting them know you like you, but yet not appearing too desperate, but yet on the other hand, playing hard to get? What do you think of that? I mean, how do you, what's the right balance between coming across as too desperate versus playing hard to get?
I think if you ask a woman out for dinner, if she says yes, there is some attraction there. Whereas, and so when you go out to dinner, she is exploring what it would be like to be with you. So you've already got an opportunity there. It's about now whether, the chemistry is right. When it comes to a woman asking a man out or pursuing him for, the possibilities of that, a guy won't go with a girl usually if he's not into her in some way. Whether it's 10% or 80%, he just won't bother.
So guys are a little more blunt that way?
Guys are a little more blunt that way. So if you're going to take that chance and ask a guy out and he goes out with you, there's a huge opportunity there for you. And same with women. I mean, women.
But do you think, though, is it so? I mean, the guy's just going to tell you if he likes you or not. But do you think the women as direct, or is there more coyness, or is that a stereotype?
Well, I think that women are taught some very peculiar behavior that they think they need to subscribe to, and they follow these rules and things that are written in articles, and they think that playing hard to get is a good thing. My personal opinion is what's the point of doing that? And I think you make a great point that right then and there at that first dinner what's going on. It's very clear to see if a guy's into you, and it's very clear to see if a woman's into you. And the hard to get idea, I think that you feel the balance in yourself when the relationship gets underway and it's just starting, that sometimes it doesn't hurt so much not to answer that phone right away. It's more an instinctive thing. It's a mating kind of a game is what it is. And it takes on sort of a sensual quality. You know when to let it go a night, you know when to be there. And I think it's sort of a game in that regard.
But would you not agree that game comes from instinct, though?
It comes from instinct.
If you're having to force yourself to not answer the phone or force yourself to not call him or her when you want to, then it's not the right thing to do.
Exactly.
To do the exact opposite of that.
If you're true to your feelings and are giving into your feelings, then you'll know what to do, and the balance comes from within, and it's part of the natural instinct of two people.
Well, I thought it was interesting that you said that, even though you're not into playing games in general, but you do believe in tricks. You say good old-fashioned tricks in the sense that...
Well, I believe in fun, and I believe in keeping it interesting. And I don't believe in saying, no, the 3-date rule, or whatever. People have these crazy rules, I can't do this but I believe in listening to your heart and your head, and I think intellect and heart go together. And if a trick is involved, fine.
Well, and what I was getting at in particular, you say, which maybe I've done it myself before, but you say you set up a situation where the person's there, let's say, or you create the accidental meeting. Do you think that that's a legitimate strategy?
I love the accidental meeting. It works out beautifully.
You help it along a little?
I think it needs a little help, I mean, there's this great scene in the movie, I don't know which it was a teen comedy, but she sends herself flowers to the classroom so the boy there will see the flowers.
I've never sent myself flowers, but...
And it's really hilarious because don't think he didn't pay attention. Like, who's sending her flowers? Why is she getting the flowers? Then it just sets up, now that's a little extreme. But I think the cute meat and these kinds of things, if it's not overdone, Do you think I'm wrong?
Well, I don't know if you've
No,
ever
I-
sent
I
yourself
don't.
flowers, but what do you think of
You
the
know,
accidental meeting?
It's just funny
kinda?
because as a master hypnotherapist, the one thing I know about human beings for fact is they know whether there's an opportunity there. They know whether this person really likes them or not. They might not want to listen to it. They might be afraid to listen to it, whatever the reason may be. They do know deep inside. And if something is not clicking, it's not clicking. Maybe it's the wrong time, maybe it's the wrong person, whatever it is.
Well,
pull
let's
back.
say your work schedules are different or something, and you would hardly ordinarily run into each other. Would you set up the accidental meeting to help things along?
If you like someone, you can't help but set up that accidental meeting.
Yeah, if you're just trying to get things going, get it into play,
Yeah.
and it hasn't happened naturally, the accidental meeting is beautiful. You know, I'm not going to admit to how many accidental meetings I'm
not going to admit to how many times the cops have been called. They call it stalking, but I don't call it that.
Ah, good point.
Yeah,
okay,
no,
so you
you
think
know?
so when do you cross the line from accidental meeting into stalking?
I think when
guess?
you're like peering
No,
through with
we're talking-
binoculars.
Oh, I just happened to be on your
Yeah.
front
We're
porch
talking
this morning,
one,
you know.
one accidental meeting, you know,
Yeah.
and then as you say, if it,
Probably in a
if it's
public
sti-
place, not like in your living room or something.
Right,
That's where I
exactly.
went wrong, actually. It was
The window was open. I
the
just
window
thought I'd
was
come
open,
in, you
so
know.
I didn't know that you're not supposed to do it that way.
Big mistake.
Trial and error.
Yeah, but I think once the ball is in play, then, so to speak, then you really you have to back off. And then if the attraction's there, it's there. You can't force an attraction.
No.
You can force a meeting, but you cannot force an attraction.
Or join a band.
Join a band.
Yeah, good
You know,
bands,
that's a
bad
good
bands,
time
it
for the
doesn't
next
matter.
segment, actually.
Join
We have
a
a band
band.
coming up.
Yeah,
Maybe that's
there you
it.
go.
Well, there you go.
But you do, you mentioned there's a way to get him or her, I suppose, to make the first move. What do you think about that, though? Is that the right?
I think that you will learn a lot about someone if you don't make the first move. You just watch that person.
Let them-
People like to talk about themselves, so all the information you need about a person will come to you if you don't force it. Just let someone talk.
Yes, but you have to make yourself available for that first move to be made.
That is true.
You have to be accessible, and that doesn't mean you have to suffocate the person or have the cute meat too much, but you have to, in a very subtle way, let the person know that you are available for them to.
Yes. Yes.
And
Now-
that's the same in business or anything else. I mean, that is in life. You have to be accessible and open and there for someone to come to you, whether it's a business situation or a romantic situation.
Yes.
What about flirty versus filthy? I saw, I saw that in your press kit. What's that all about?
Well, I don't usually. The flirty thing is fun. The filthy thing is losing your self-respect into desperation. And once you go into desperation, then not only do you not respect yourself, you won't respect. They won't respect you.
I think it's probably. I want to hear you say
That
that.
part sounded
You know
more
what?
fun to me than the other part.
Somehow
No,
I
I'm
just
kidding.
know I'm going to end up on this show naked and unconscious, and everyone's going to be laughing except for me. So
No.
I don't know.
That's
It's
the
like
next
high
segment,
school
too.
all
We've
over
got all
again.
kinds of stuff
no,
planned.
this is not going to happen.
I hope not.
No.
Where's Thor?
Where's Thor when we need him?
Well, another thing you mentioned, though, is how to get, let's say, what part does the family play? You know, like getting the parents to like you, let's say, maybe if you're younger, well, maybe even older, too. I mean, how much should something like that matter? You know, getting the whole family to fall in love with you. Let's say you got the guy or the girl to like you. Now, how do you get the family to fall in love with you?
I don't think it's about, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to make the family like us. But I think it's more about the person dealing with their own family and the respect factor between the family and this individual saying, this is the person that I like, this is the person I want to be with, and the family embracing that. I mean, you shouldn't be rude, you should be respectful to the family, but you should be yourself. The same reason that she likes you or he likes you, it should be the same reason that the family will as well.
And if the family doesn't like them, too bad?
Again, that's an issue between the parents and that person.
Do you want the family to have a crush on the person too?
Exactly.
But don't you
You
think,
know,
though, a
it's-
lot
Keep your
of
eye on the
people,
ball.
though,
Yeah, it's just right.
but don't a lot of people look to their friends? Like if their friends don't like them, they think that's a problem, or...
If you're 15.
Well, yeah, I think that's part of the whole problem that we have about relationships. You know, wanting other people to like the person, wanting our family, all the things we bring to it that have nothing to do with our feelings for that person and their feelings for us, because either it's going to work or not. right?
All right. Well, thank you very much, Sanjay Berman. Do everything they tell you not to do if you want to succeed.
Thank you
Sounds
very
like
much.
good words for dating there. Kim Dower,
Yes,
Kim's book is
thank
Life
you.
as a Series of Presentations. Up next, The Three Heads. We'll be right back.
I need a holiday. You need a holiday. Give us a holiday. It's some vacation.
And we are back, and joining me now is the band The Three Heads. Now, they call them The Three Heads, but I see four heads. We've got Heath, you're the lead singer.
Yeah, Heath Francis.
Francis. Pat Cleary.
That's right.
And David Banks. And Jared Fisher. I went to hear you guys play the other night, and not only did I like the music a lot, in fact, actually I'm happy to because I got my own free private concert, so I always like that. But I liked when you hit the high notes.
Yes,
So-
yeah, yeah. We've been hitting the high notes since I was a little kid.
How old were you when you started singing?
Gosh, I've been singing professionally since I was 12, but my mom threw me up on stage when I was 5. So
Against your will, or?
No. I actually didn't want to leave the stage.
Get out there, make some money for it.
Yeah, I didn't want to leave the stage actually.
Oh,
I
wow.
loved it. I fell in love with the stage, for sure.
I should say this is your third CD, Straight Faced.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're going to perform 2 songs from it later for us. But you're pretty much self-taught, is that right?
Yeah. He went to a lot of my singing functions growing up. Him and I are like brothers.
You've known each other for how long?
Our parents met in the Moz class. We're born 3 days apart.
Wow.
So
And we met when we were 4.
4.
Yeah.
That's when we started hanging out.
Serious, I mean, it's true. It's like, so we started hanging out ever since we're 4 years old.
Wow.
Me, Pat, and Jared, we're all from Humboldt County, NorCal, and small town. So we got to know Jared, and he's actually from David here is from
Luma as well, which is
Yeah.
So all from up north. In fact, you were the best band of Humboldt County, 2003.
Yeah,
is that right?
yeah, we were.
So you decided to make the
You
big.
did your homework.
I did.
That's pretty sweet.
Not only did I go to the concert and listen to the CD, but yeah,
I forgot
Yeah,
about
that's cool.
that.
Yeah, it's true. We were, yeah.
And then you decided to make the big move down here to LA, though.
Yeah, we were big fish in a little pond there, in Humboldt, and we just wanted to see how far we could take our dream, And we've been it's been going good. We've had our ups and downs, We've had our struggles like every
But yet you
band
stayed together
does.
for years, which is like, really is amazing.
It's a brotherhood that we got going on here. And Dave, he's been with us the last year, and we're really, really, really thankful to have Dave. Dave's
Just say
been
you're
a
the
great
actor
addition.
in the group.
Yeah.
You've done what, commercials and
Yeah. I did a film with Stephen Bauer. I play kind of a neurotic, crazy coke-headed guy. And then,
what was that one called?
Doing Hard Time.
Doing Hard Time. Is that the one you lost 20 pounds for? Or
Yeah,
something?
yeah, exactly. Kind of getting into I like doing things that are for me more rewarding to kind of jump out of my own element. I got working on a Western next, which I've never even been on a horse, so that should be interesting. I don't know how it's going to work. Unless those little horses in front of the supermarket count where you put a quarter in, probably not. So probably
I'll make an interesting Western on the supermarket horse.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Probably won't work, but yeah.
But now you describe your musical influences, everything from U2 and the Beatles
man.
to.
I was
just
actually
all over the
before
place.
we went on the show, I was actually thinking about that because that's a common question asked. Like what are your influences? But
Is that the
when
voice they do when they ask you?
That's how they say it too.
that's the voice they do. every time.
Backstreet Boys, NSYNC. What were the?
No, but the I don't know if we all have one particular group that we all like. But
We all kind of disagree on most
yeah.
things.
Yeah,
don't we?
actually, well, him and I have a lot that we like. Him and Jared have a lot that they like, and then
So how do you find common ground though? How do you keep everybody happy? Do you just each?
I think that's you're only as great as your influences. So I think the more influences, the better with music. So if you have influences from all over the place, it creates something unique.
All
you know?
right. Well, I'm looking forward to this. I'm going to get out of the way so you guys can play
Oh, yeah,
here.
for
So
sure.
Heath and
Patrick.
Pat and David and Jared. Okay, you're going to do
We're doing a song called To the Ones. It's on
To the
a new-
Ones. And
new
then close the
record.
call.
The
Thanks
Ones.
everybody for watching. We'll see you next time. And I'm going to turn this over to them.
we are now. A brand new day, same routine, tell your stories. The same old ones we've heard before. If you're gonna take this chance, you have to pay the price. I hear through your noise, see through your disguise, and you make things so complicated. For all that's overrated, to the ones who grieve at night, ones who stand alone, ones who find themselves on their own. Worlds become so small, regrets are deeper than blue. Hear through your noise, debts they haunt you, and you make things so complicated. For all that's overrated, to the ones who grieve at night, ones who stand alone, ones who find themselves on their own. For those who never cry, those who never try, those who keep their feelings inside. You hold on to everything. The past won't let you go, but you carry everything inside. Let go.